What you're about to hear is something that would seem to be out of the Twilight Zone or Black Mirror, but not out of your history books. But this is why history becomes so fascinating. Our story begins in the summer of 1518 in Strasbourg, which was part of the Holy Roman Empire at the time. It was a warm July day when a seemingly ordinary woman named Frau Trophia stepped into the streets and began to dance. But this was no ordinary dance for that time period, no. Frau Trophia's movements were frantic, uncontrollable, and without any apparent rhyme or reason. At first, people thought she was just having a strange episode, or perhaps suffering from some personal crisis. However, what happened next defied all expectations. Frau Trophia continued to dance for hours, then days, without stopping. Her face showed signs of exhaustion and distress, but she seemed unable to control her body. The townspeople were awestruck and curious. They gathered around her, whispering and pointing. Some thought she was possessed by spirits, while others believed she had simply gone mad. She stayed doing her solo dance for a week, and then something even more bizarre and unusual happened. Soon, dozens of people joined Frau Trophia, dancing frantically in the streets of Strasbourg. This was no ordinary gathering. No, the dancers moved without rhythm or coordination, their faces a mix of exhaustion and desperation. Despite their fatigue, they just couldn't stop. They danced all day and all night, under the sun and under the stars, driven by this unknown force. The local authorities, including physicians and priests, were at a loss. They had never seen anything like this before. Doctors diagnosed the dancers with what they called hot blood, a condition they believed was caused by an excess of blood in the body, leading to overheating and madness. Their prescription? Of course, why not? More dancing. In an interesting turn of events, the doctors believed that by actually encouraging the dancers to continue, they would eventually exhaust themselves and recover. The town council decided the best course of action was to build stages and hire musicians to keep the dancers moving. They hoped that by providing a controlled environment for the dancing, the afflicted would be cured. And why not? Create the proper environment, then normalcy would return. Stages were built in the city squares, and musicians played lively tunes. But instead of curing the dancers, the number of participants actually grew. More and more people were drawn into the frenzy, unable to resist the compulsion to dance. It was as though they saw the movie Footloose, and everybody indeed did cut loose. As the days turned into weeks, the situation became dire. The dancers, despite their exhaustion, continued to move. Some danced until they collapsed from fatigue. Others suffered from heart attacks or strokes. The streets of Strasbourg were filled with the haunting sight of people dancing to their deaths. The townspeople were desperate for answers. Theories about the cause of the dancing epidemic ranged from the supernatural to the scientific. Some believed it was a curse or divine punishment for the sins of the people. Others thought it was the work of demons possessing the bodies of the dancers. The church played a significant role in the response to the crisis. Priests performed exorcisms in the streets, praying for the deliverance of the afflicted. The townspeople gathered in churches, praying fervently for an end to the madness. But despite all these efforts, the dancing continued. On the scientific side, some doctors proposed that the epidemic was caused by ergot poisoning. Ergot is a hallucinogenic mold that grows on rye and other grains. When ingested, it can cause severe symptoms, including hallucinations, convulsions, and a sensation of burning skin. Could it be that the people of Strasbourg were unwittingly consuming ergot-contaminated bread, leading to this very strange behavior? Another theory suggested that the dancing plague was a case of mass hysteria, a psychological phenomenon where a group of people experience similar symptoms of a collective delusion. In times of great stress and hardship, communities can be susceptible to such outbreaks. Strasbourg in 1518 was dealing with a series of crises, including famine, disease, and political instability. It's possible that these stressors contributed to the onset of the dancing mania. Yet, no single explanation fully accounts for the scale and intensity of the epidemic. The dance of 1518 remains an enigma to this day, a perplexing event that continues to fascinate and baffle historians and scientists alike. By September, the dancing finally began to subside. The epidemic faded as mysteriously as it had begun. The streets of Strasbourg returned to normal, but the memory of those frenzied weeks lingered in the minds of the townspeople. The dance of 1518 is not an isolated incident. Similar outbreaks of dancing mania were recorded in medieval Europe, though none were as large or as well documented as the one in Strasbourg. These events are a reminder of how little we understand about the complexities of the human mind and body, especially when influenced by environmental and social factors. Today, the dance of 1518 is often cited in discussions of mass hysteria and the impact of psychological stress on communities. It serves as a case study for scholars trying to unravel the mysteries of collective human behavior. Theories continue to evolve, but the true cause of the dancing plague remains elusive to this day. Modern-day Strasbourg is a vibrant city, proud of its rich history and cultural heritage. Visitors to the city can still walk the same streets where the dancers once moved in uncontrollable frenzy. While the events of 1518 are a distant memory, they are a lasting part of the city's fascinating past. So what lessons can we draw from the dance of 1518? It teaches us about the power of the human mind, the influence of societal stress, and the mysterious ways in which our bodies can react to external pressures and the powers of peer pressure and jumping on the bandwagon. It could be seen today as a TikTok challenge that lasted several months and went horribly wrong. It also reminds us of the importance of community, compassion, and understanding in times of crisis. As we look back on this strange and unsettling chapter in history, we are reminded of the resilience of the human spirit. The people of Strasbourg faced an unimaginable ordeal, yet they persevered. Their story is a testament to the strength and endurance that lies within us all. Thanks for joining Whispers of the Past. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more fascinating stories from the past. Have you heard of other strange historical events you'd like us to cover? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, keep exploring and stay curious. See you in the next video.